Welcome back to Turning the Key to Real Estate. I'm your host, Nicholas Fegley.
And Heather Patron-Shook.
Well, everybody, we are joined by a special guest today for our second episode of what Heather and I have still not got a name for yet, which is our business spotlights. But again, we've not come up with a name yet. You would have thought after the 6.5 hours we spent in the car the other day together that we could have probably have done that, but we didn't. But we are joined by
going on.
We are joined by Brandon Ramsey. Brandon, I met you at a networking group and you do credit processing. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Of course.
awesome.
So what is credit processing?
So basically, any company that accepts credit cards, whether it's a POS system, just a standalone terminal, they have to have a third party that will process those and essentially give them their money that they're selling whatever product they're selling. So that's where I come in. I get to sell them the terminals, the POS systems, and our company does the processing and make sure the all important stuff, they get their money in their account.
So what is this?
So for
You
Heather,
mentioned POS though. What is POS?
so POS
Well, it's
to
not what
real
you think.
estate is POS to real estate is crap. I just had it.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, you were thinking piece of shit. I mean, I'll say it. Let's be honest. It's me. It's point of sale.
Correct.
Point of sale system.
Yeah. Now, some of the point of sale systems also are pieces of shit. We try not to
sure.
sell those, but
Yeah.
so that's more of like the restaurants. They have the whole setup, the screens, the touch screens where they're ordering from. That kicks it back to the kitchen, to the printers. So we have in-depth systems like that, or we just have like when you go into a retail shop and they just have a little terminal beside it. You give them the card, they swipe it like at a pizza place. Oftentimes, I have those that I sell as well.
Well, I mean, what about like things like landscapers? Like, do you have mobile units?
I do. Yeah. Great question. I do have landscapers that I work with. I have units you can put right on your phone. I have units that only go through like my landscaper that I use. I have him set up on like a gateway. So everything is through his computer. Excuse me. He has it set up for monthly reoccurring billing. So the first of the month, I always see my receipt comes through because he does my landscaping also. And I get my receipt, and it's a great system for him. He loves it, and he's like, I don't have to do anything. I set them up initially, and they just bill each first of the month, and I see a nice big chunk of change go in my account the second or third.
Nice.
So yeah, or we have mobile terminals that actually take a SIM card, and people are out on the road. A lot of food trucks use those, so it's a great concept for them. Square is out there. People use Square, but oftentimes their rates are a lot higher. So
Right.
save them some money and provide some good customer service all at the same time.
Now, you had mentioned your son is out there shoveling right now.
He is.
So his type of business, could you set him up for these, and then that way somebody, if they don't have any cash on them, they could just swipe away?
I could do that. Yes. I would just set it up on his phone. He could take that along. He's actually with a guy that does contracting work. So he needs a couple kids, to go along and shovel and get paid. But as I think he's starting to see the value in this and how much he enjoys making the money, as he gets older, hey, bud, just put this on your phone. You go door to door. I'm like, oh, I don't have any cash. Good news. I can take your credit card.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Listen, there are some
Not
cookie
encouraging child
peddlers-
labor.
No, but there are some cookie peddlers who have switched to Venmo, which is
Yep.
unheard of. But people, the cookie peddlers. We're not going to mention who.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, so that's
Obviously, we know who they swindle every year.
definitely in my house. But that's the whole thing, that's nice to have. It's the ease of convenience. You can't have anybody say, and plus let's face it, some people like to get on airplanes and their credit cards that they use on their side get the mileage. So for them, it's a win-win for your customers.
Absolutely.
So do you do start to finish, like you sit down, you figure out what kind of system is needed for the client? Because they may go in thinking they need this gigantic system, and you might come back and say, yeah, you're not there yet. Like, is that
Yeah,
what you
absolutely.
do?
Absolutely. Anything from, startup companies. I have a business right now, brand new business. And they kind of wanted to go that route. And I said, guys, look, you're just starting off. Do you really want to invest all this money initially into this? I said, something you have to think about. I gave them some different options. They went with a more expensive option. They said, we feel this is important. I said, I'm on board. I just want to give you options so you can see what's out there. And I don't want you to feel like I'm going to try to give you the most expensive thing when you don't necessarily need it. They had good reasons behind why they wanted it. And I understood that. I mean, you're coming in, you're ordering. You don't want to see somebody just with a pen and paper writing something down and then put it in their system or in their side terminal. But yeah, I try to give them a lot of different options. And, even as technology evolves and different things, I talk to them about, hey, do you want to look at upgrades? Is this something you want to consider for your business? Will it help it? So always looking to do things to try to make their life easier for their business as well.
So it's everything from the terminal to the back end support to the software, the whole 9 yards.
Yes. Now, in our team, so my company is a small family-owned company. Been in business almost 30 years, but we have a guy that handles all the IT, the tech support. I'm usually on the phone with him daily. It's great. Like, he can set up the terminal. I have the terminals at my house connected online, and I just download the file to the terminal. Any updates that need to be made, he sends I don't know. I'm not a techie guy, but he sends a signal to the terminal. I do an update to it, and it fixes everything. It's pretty amazing, the technology involved with it. But yeah, we do have a team that helps us out with it. I basically sell, put it in, install it, and then service and provide customer service to them, throughout the life of the agreement.
Nice.
So, Brandon, who would you say would be your ideal business owners that could be listening that would be good candidates to get a evaluation done?
Clients that may feel like right now they're paying way too much in credit card fees. And I, as I got into this industry, the topic was, okay, well, let me see if I can save them money. I can always switch them if I can save them money. Not always the biggest thing. It's just like, do you want to pay for, a Cadillac and drive a Cadillac, or do you want to drive, a Chevy or a Ford? Okay, a Buick. There's a different
nothing
level.
wrong with Chevy, Ford, or Buick.
Absolutely not. I've got a Jeep and my
Or
wife
child
has a
labor.
That's encouraged. But
it is. I have pictures of my niece out there putting signs in for me.
But
I mean, it's free labor.
Absolutely. So yeah, ones that maybe they don't even know who their rep is. I can service any account. I like to be able to have that hands-on approach, but I have accounts in Tennessee, in Delaware. We have a place down at the beach, so I'm not down there a lot, but I can get to them and I can see them. With Zoom, with FaceTime, you can do a lot now. But I can service anywhere. So if you don't have that relationship, if your system crashes, you're going to know if you don't have your money in your account, you're going to get a phone call. Yeah. And, who are you going to call at that point? Do you have to call a call center where you're waiting for somebody on the phone? And I hate to say it, but sometimes it's difficult to understand what they're trying to tell you. You're trying to walk through it. You're frustrated. Where's my money? And, it's nicer when I can tell someone, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call me, and I'm going to get it taken care of for you. And we'll have that thing corrected, whatever that issue may be, same day. So
your personal touch, you have that personal connection. There is no, 15 steps to get to you.
Correct. Yep. And even if you call like our tech support guy, you call the 800 number, you hit number 5, and he's going to answer the phone. 24 hours a day we have, either our owner, our president, our vice president, our tech guy are all on call, so that you're always going to get somebody. And that's kind of what really separates us from these bigger companies, that I tell people, look, maybe you've never had an issue, but when you experience that one issue that could make or break, a weekend for your business, you're going to want to have somebody that can take care of it right away and get you an answer. And that's really what I try to sell myself on and tell people, when it comes time and shit hits the fan, you're going to be happy that, you had somebody you can call and get answers to right away.
So are you looking for bars and restaurants, mechanics? Are you looking for stylists and cosmetology and the field of massage and yoga and health and fitness instructors?
So
who are your people?
Each one of those, like within the software and the systems, there's a lot of different systems. So they've gotten smart and they realize, okay, this system handles bars and restaurants very well, so we can sell this type of software to them. Stylists and barbers and med spas, they have their own type of system and software. A lot of them in that industry are difficult and they know exactly what they want. And if they have something already, switching to something different really throws them for a loop. But I would encourage them, if they don't like what they have, if they're running into problems with it, absolutely. It's a free consultation. It doesn't hurt to call. Hey, here's what I'm running with. Do you have any solutions for me that might work? Let's talk it out. Let's figure out what exactly you're looking for. I mean, I just helped out a girl, has a med spa, and I didn't get the business, but I pushed her in the direction of, like, here's where you need to go. We cannot integrate into that system, but this is exactly what you want. Go for that. Now, I'm not going to get that account, but the way I look at it is I've helped her solve her problem. If she runs into anybody that needs help, hopefully she's going to refer them and be like, you know what, Brandon was great to deal with. He really helped me find what I needed. And I'm not even using him, but I think he could probably help you out. So that's how I look at trying to get business.
Heather, you should call that 24-hour spa place in Atlantic City, schedule a spas for December, and see if they want a consultation.
Brandon,
24-hour spa in Atlantic City.
Yeah, Brandon, some people have really bad ideas, and
this was not my idea.
You just have to say to them, no, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Oh, the shit we get ourselves into.
I don't know. I've been to Atlantic City quite a bit, and I'm not sure about that spa though, Nick.
No, but you mentioned fees. You mentioned credit card fees. Obviously, but I'm not even 100% sure that everybody understands. Like, when you swipe a credit card at a business, the business actually is charged a percentage for the credit card you used.
Yes. Now, just to give you some info on that, it's always going to vary. So, like, top of the line Amex, Amex charges the most because I know you got excited. They give you
yelling at me.
most rewards. So you get the most rewards from Amex by using it. So they're also going to charge the merchant more to accept that card. Yeah. There's still some merchants out there that don't like accepting American Express because they have this concept, oh my gosh, they're going to charge me like 10 times as much. That's not true. Like, if you really broke it down, for every $100, you might get charged an extra 50 cents, roughly. But there are fees. It's going to be dependent upon what type of card you use. If it's a business card, they run through at a different rate. So it's really difficult to hold up a card and say, well, what's this one going to run through? And as a business owner, you can't do that. You just take the card. But Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, they charge every business their interchange rate. Here's what they've got to pay. On top of that, you have companies like myself that then put our fee into that are built into it. So I have clients that are running, and here's another part that maybe some of your listeners will want to know. Well, what type, what size businesses? I don't have a minimum. If I can help you and I can feel that I can make a little bit of money off of it, I'm going to do it. Because if I can help you, who knows where you're going to grow to, and who knows who you may refer me to. I try to help everybody that I can. So those fees are built on top of that. And it's going to vary, because if you're running $250,000, you're going to have a better rate from me than if you're running $25,000. So people say, well, what are your rates going to be? And I'm like, I've got to know what you're running, what your volume looks like, and
You need a
average
statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Statements. We have a program that I can put your statement into the program, and I can have results back of how you're paying your fees, hidden fees. I had a guy used to be in a networking group that called me up, got him switched. He was paying $70 a month to an old processor that he had. Didn't realize he was paying this. He had paid it for 18 months. I was like, well, I just saved you $70 a month and you haven't even switched over to me yet. So he's like, didn't even know I was paying that. I'm like, yeah, well, there was an extra $940. So yeah, statements are very helpful.
Everything adds up. Everything adds
It
up.
does. So, and Brandon, when we talked the one time, this is something that business owners can do. Personally, I don't agree with it, but that's just because I'm on the opposite side of it. But, and I know that there's a lot of controversy to this about that businesses can actually charge a percentage on top if you're going to use a card instead of cash or check or something like that. Personally, I feel like it's a business expense and you choose to take it, but that's just me. But
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
All right. So I'm glad you brought that up. And like you had mentioned, and I tell everybody this, yes, it's a business expense. So if you're selling product, you're probably going to build that into your pricing. So there's a couple ways to look at this. You can say, okay, I'm not going to build that into my price. I'm going to put that on as an added feature so that if I put that onto my price, every single person is going to pay that, even those people that pay cash. So I don't want to call it they're getting ripped off, but you're making a little bit more off the people that pay cash. So, I have one of my favorite clients, great guy, go to visit him a good bit, he and his wife. He adamantly said from the get-go, and I don't push, I tell people, it's your business. You have to decide what's right for you. He's like, I'm not going to charge my customers. I won't do it. The next breath, he said, I build that into my pricing. I was like, well, you kind of do charge your people.
You're charging your people.
Yeah. So, I have here's an example. I have a flooring store. I told him it's not smart for your business. Your average ticket is a couple $1,000s. You put the percentage on that. They're now paying a couple $100 more. They're going to get kind of pissed off about it. But I have ice cream places. I have pizza places. I have mechanics that do it. And they build it in. I have kind of like a feed mill place that is implementing it. They're started processing with me actually last week. They're going to run it through, and they've put up signs starting in February. We're going to start charging a percentage if you pay by card. So it really is off of, I tell people, what your average ticket looks like. An ice cream place, if they're running a $12 average ticket, you're going to pay an extra 40, 50 cents. People don't usually blink an eye at that. They pay it, okay, whatever. There's going to be some people as they go back to the ice cream place, let me make sure I have cash now and pay.
Correct.
But when I've added up their fees and I show the owners what they're looking at that they've paid in fees, they said, you know what? We don't want to raise our prices this year. Instead, we'll keep them the same and we'll implement this. So if they use a card, I was like, perfect. They're going to raise the prices or implement this. Go this route.
So
they know what they're going to save. They see the money. They're like, oh my God, that's a great vacation. I'm like, yeah. So it's becoming more and more popular. People then have the option, do I want to pay cash and not pay that extra percentage? And it can vary. The percentages can vary. Usually it's between 3 and 4%, or, pay the fee and know that you're going to do that. Customers' biggest question is, how are my clients or my customers going to react to this? Mm-hmm. Studies are done. You're always going to have somebody that's like, I hate this. This is terrible. I'm never coming back here. And you just have to, you have to train your employees of how to handle that, and explain to them, look, we can raise our prices or we can implement this and you can pay cash.
Right.
So,
cost of business.
Yeah. It's how you train your employees and how you interact with them.
So question is there a difference between a debit card and a credit card?
So yes, but it depends. So there's language in there. If you run a surcharge program, you cannot surcharge debit cards.
I
And
didn't think
everybody's like,
so.
well, everybody, oh, this is a Visa, this is a MasterCard. Right, it's all connected, but it says debit on there. So if you run a surcharge program, which I don't even put up because your machine will do it. Like it will know which one you can charge, which one you can't. So essentially, if you are, and I can look at your statement and see, you've run 500 transactions this month and 400 of those are debit transactions, you're still going to pay your fee for basically 80% of your credit card processing. You're going to save on 20% on those true credit cards. So there's another part where I can look at your statement. I can tell you if it's smart to go on a surcharge program. There's a place now that this is not what I do, but they run through and they call it a technology fee. Oh, this is a way for them to recoup their money so they're not paying their credit card processing fees. And it's like they're starting to get a little shady with how they run different programs and put it in there. It's like, let's just be honest with people. Tell them, hey, I'm tired of paying all these fees. I'm going to pass it on to you. You either pay cash or I have to raise my prices. So
if there was a store that was charging, say, they were just adding 50 cents to every bill if you were using a card, and you used your debit card and you told them it was a debit card, they still added that $50. Is there something you can do about that?
So there is, and again, it would be interesting to see what they're calling that fee, because I've been to places that have done it. I've told them, I'm like, guys, look, you can't legally run this program. And I tried to sit down with them to go over things. They did get it changed. The extreme is reaching out to Visa, MasterCard, and those companies and saying, look, there's an online, like, you can report businesses that are doing that. I try to stay away from the extreme, and that's really a fine line to walk with business owners when you go in and see them running essentially a program that's illegal to run, and how you approach that with them instead of just calling them out saying, hey, guess what? You're running an illegal program. Let me set you up with a correct one. They're like, well, somebody sold me on this. I'm like, oh, you got one of the shady guys in the business. So lucky for you, I'm here.
It also could be what they're seeing on the street too, but at least you're
Yeah.
trying to set them straight and be like, listen, here's how you can do something about this. Because let's face it, stuff is not cheap anymore.
Nope.
No. But I think that's the big point though there too, is if you're not doing it right, it's my understanding the consequences are you can lose the ability to accept all credit cards, debit cards, everything completely. And that's why you need an expert like Brandon that's going to tell you how to do it correctly so that you're not getting yourself into that situation that you have that person that finally turns you in, they do an audit, and then you lose the ability to accept card.
Yeah, and Nick, you brought up a good point there. You are correct. You can, they can pull that from you. They basically give you, okay, yes, you can accept Visa, MasterCard, or those, but they can also pull that away from you. You can also get fines. And the fines aren't like, hey, here's a slap on the wrist, like $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. I don't know any business.
They go hard.
Like, let me see if I can get by and risk this. Like, oh, that sucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, thank you
Brandon,
so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to you guys. It's been great.
Yeah. And anybody out there that's looking to possibly just get that second opinion, my information's in the bio. Give me a call, shoot me a text. I can get you in touch with Brandon. Definitely trust him, and he would do you guys good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Well, everybody, that was another episode of Turning the Key to Real Estate. I am your host, Nicholas Fegley.
And Heather Patron-Shook.
Don't forget to like, follow, share for more great content like this today.